Grand Rising Loungers. I hope everybody is doing as great as I am today. Listen, guys, the notifications are going out very, very slow this morning. So it is what it is, but we are going to keep it pushing anyway. Guys, I am telling you, I was inspired to do this video today based off of conversations that were taking place yesterday. Shout out to Positively Hate. He had an excellent show. Thank God the show was finally not about me and breaking the culture, okay? We've moved on in the sector, and we've got other stuff that we are talking about. And I'll tell you guys, the conversations were wild, okay? But one of the things that came up yesterday was the fact that there's certain people who do not believe that they were affiliated with AFWs, okay? And then there's certain people who don't believe other people were affiliated with the good guys, okay? Or somehow being affiliated with the good guys was a bad thing, or whatever the case may be, okay? So listen, I'm going to give you guys my commentary on that today, okay? And then we're also going to finish up the story yesterday between AAS and Boyce Watkins, okay? And what was going on with that. And again, the similarities between what she was doing 4 years ago with all these, black men these successful black men that she just wants to take down, right? And what she's doing today, and even how she treats successful black men, or what she views as successful black men, and how she treats men that she doesn't feel are as successful as they are, or as successful as she is, right? I kind of want you guys to see the differences on how she treats these men, okay? And, what's really just wild about all of that. But particularly, we've got to get into this conversation regarding who's who with the AFWs, who's who with the good guys, and all this other stuff, and how people came to these conclusions, okay? Because there's definitely reasoning behind how people came to the conclusion of who was AFW or who was good guys, okay? So we're going to get into all of this stuff right now, guys. What's happening, Steph? I appreciate you being in the building. And everybody that's in the clouds, I appreciate you guys too. Make sure you guys hit the like button. And for everybody that will catch the replay, I definitely appreciate you guys for coming in and catching that replay. Make sure that you guys do hit that like as well, okay? It just keeps everything going in the algorithm. And it also helps with the notifications as well, okay? All right, guys, so let's get into this, because I'll tell you, there's a lot of controversy around who's AFW, who's good guys, who's not, and all this stuff. And I think I pretty much can qualify to talk about this kind of history. I think I've been around long enough to kind of know who's who. Yes, even though granted, I came in around 2020, around I would say the middle to the beginning of 2020 is when I started. So I started around April, somewhere around May or so in 2020, okay, is when I started watching the sector. And, I quickly learned who was who, okay, because at one time, I was only watching one side. So I was watching Lennon Honor's side, and technically, there was only one side to this sector at one time, okay? Most people from this sector were watching Lennon Honor at one time, and only him. Then they're branched off to be other content creators that I was watching as well. I was watching Didi and Paige, E&J, many other content creators, okay? And it would be very easy to believe that any of these people would have been either an AFW or would have been associated, okay? Just based off of the fact that it was kind of like similar thinking. Everybody thought the same way. It was, kind of the same pattern. Everybody was on the same page. And, if anybody jumped off that page in any kind of way, you were ostracized, okay? It was literally like that. So it would be really difficult to kind of separate people from saying that they were AFW, simply because they literally followed a rigid pattern of thinking, okay? Like, it was literally, you had to think this way. You had to be this way. You had to do things this way. And if you didn't, you were treated, you were treated like an outsider. That's exactly what was going on over there. And it happened with multiple content creators. And it just happened to be that Anti-Afro was the spearhead of all of that. Okay. Or at least it appeared to us that she was the spearhead of it all. Okay. Even other people who have now left this sector and are off other places, if you go back and listen to some of these videos, they will even say, yeah, AAS was the leader. She was the one that was, that was above all of this and everything else. Okay. And she was the spearhead of the anti-fraud warriors. Okay. And there were a great deal of people that were involved with her. Now, I'll say this, and this is for the sake of Smoke God. And like I said, I'm going to give an argument on both sides. Okay. But for the sake of Smoke, I will say this much. Now, I hear what he said when he said that Max V wasn't in AFW. I heard a couple people actually comment that. And then I heard, Smoke say that, and that he wasn't in AFW as well. Now, the reason why people would believe, again, that Max V and that Smoke God were AFWs is because of the side that they took, okay? Because of the stance that they took when it came to Umar Johnson. It was no compromising on that, okay? You were either against Umar Johnson or you were attempting to fight on his behalf, okay? It was one or the other. You couldn't be in the middle. You couldn't be neutral, none of that stuff. You either had to be against Umar or you were for Umar. It was the anti-fraud warriors themselves, okay, that made that clear distinction between the two. So you had to do one or the other. Now, when it came to, I know, Dora, I got you. Now, when it came to the good guys side, okay, you didn't have to have a clear set of thinking. You could think whatever way you wanted to. So you could be in agreement with Umar or you could be in disagreement with Umar, and nobody was ostracizing you. Nobody was throwing you out of the group. Nobody was, making you feel any kind of way. Nobody was blocking your chats, that kind of thing, okay? But over on this other side where anti is, on the anti-fraud warrior side, there was like I said, it was a clear distinction. You were either for Umar or you were against him. And if you were against him, you were on their side and you couldn't even pretend or even have any thought or inkling of anything different. Okay. So they were the ones that made that distinction between whether or not you could say, what you could say and what you couldn't say. Okay. So it would be very, very easy for anybody on our side, on which is the good guy side, okay, to believe that anybody that was passing around information, anybody that was on that email chain and that was getting information and then going live and talking about these things, spreading this information, it would be very easy to believe that these people are AFWs. Okay, yes, absolutely. Like, let's be clear. Okay, this would be the reason why, because they would not budge, they would not move, they would not compromise. The only time I saw Smoke compromise, okay, was after we had gotten those emails. Me and Shakem got those emails from Pillsbury. Once we got those emails from Pillsbury, like I said, it opened up the floodgates and everybody was in their bag about what was going on. Next thing you know, Smoke went live. I believe it was directly after that show. If it wasn't during the show, okay? While we were still on and we were pulling them emails, Smoke went live and started showing the emails between the AFWs, okay, and what he was getting, okay, and what he was getting from anti. He started speaking up against it. He started saying, the things that he didn't like, and so forth. And he was immediately ostracized from the group. Next thing you know, everybody jumped on Smoke. It was a problem for Smoke to be, to be giving up that information. People started jumping ship. They started running over to Binary. That's exactly what happened, okay? So, and then, Binary was taking on the same stances. He was taking on the same, the same conversation that the AFWs were having, even though Anti just couldn't stand his ass, okay? But he was taking on the same conversation. He was taking on the same rhetorics. He was taking the emails, trying to put out information about Darrell's wife. It was all kinds of stuff going on. And it just happened to be so that Binary kind of literally just picked up the pieces from what Smoke was doing and just ran from there. Okay. So again, I'm not sure why anybody would have any doubt in their mind that any of y'all who were in those chats, any of y'all that were spreading this rhetoric, any of y'all that had the discourse behind this, that had all the behind the scenes stuff that was going on behind this, why would anybody who was on the side of the good guys not believe that y'all were AFWs? Okay, I absolutely believed y'all were AFWs. I believe not only was it Max, not only was Smoke, not only was all these people, I believed a lot of you who were in the chat rooms were AFWs as well. Now that this bullshit has happened, and it turns out that Anti is out of her mind, right? And she was dealing with some other people who were out of their mind. And it turns out that the stuff they were saying about Umar was a bunch of bullshit, right? And the stuff that they were doing was a bunch of bullshit. Now everybody wants to back away from that name, that household name, and say, no, I was never affiliated with them. No, I was not an AFW. No, I was never an AFW. But it's very hard, guys. And like I said, I can't argue with you. You know your history. You know what you were here for. You know what you were doing, right? But you got to look at this from the point of view of people who were free thinkers, people who were able to come around. And like I said, I've never been an Umar Johnson supporter, but I've never been a person that believed he should be locked up, right? I didn't believe that, and I still don't. I can't even call him necessarily a scammer, right? Because, he should be in jail if he's a scammer, right? We can come up with a bunch of people that actually have scammed. And he has been looked into. He's been investigated, and they in those investigations, they still haven't done anything to prosecute him. Okay, so I can't call him a scammer. I could just call him bad with business, right? Would I ever give him my money? No, right? Would I ever invest in FDMG? No. Okay, but at the end of the day, I can't call him a scammer, and I can't tell other people what to do with their money. You see what I'm saying? If they want to believe in the vision and they want to give him their money, that's on them, right? But I can't say he's scamming per se. All I can say is I wouldn't fuck with it, and I believe he's bad with business. Okay, that's the way it looks to me. I'm in Delaware. I've spoken with other people who are in the community, right, in regards to this, like personally and stuff. So again, I'm looking at this from ground level, and I don't see it as a scam, right? But I do see it as, a bunch of bullshit, right? I do see it that way. I can see it as, something that is a waste of time. It's a waste of space in our community, that kind of thing. I could say a whole lot of stuff about it, but I wouldn't call the cops on them. Okay. I just wouldn't. All right. Now, but they do. And, and they have. And there were specific people within that group that had as well. And now, like I said, based off of what has come out of, the reputation of being an AFW, or the reputation of Anti and Rev G and all, the people that want to hang on to that, right? That reputation, people want to get away from. They want to act, pretend that they were never a part of it. But I'm having a hard time just digesting that y'all were not a part of it, okay? Because like I said, y'all were the ones that was pushing the rhetoric. Y'all were the ones that were getting the emails, looking at them, and then going with it. I'll never forget, there was this one video Max V did. And shout out to Max V. I don't got no beef with Max or nothing. He's cool. But there was this one video he had done when he was still affiliated with the AFWs. And I'll never forget it because it had something to do with that lawsuit, right? It had something to do with that Archibald lawsuit when it first came out. And he had gotten it, and he was looking at it. And, a lot of us had gotten that Archibald lawsuit in email, right? We had gotten it with that. You remember the spam mails that were coming out? I don't even know if y'all still getting them because I've been put that in spam. But either way, he had gotten this Archibald lawsuit. And I remember when I first saw it, I knew it was a bunch of bullshit, right? Like I knew it was a bunch of shit. I know a lot of people thought it was a bunch of shit, including Make a Change. Shout out to him because he actually made a video about it. And his affiliation with AFWs after that went to kaput, okay? But either way, That particular lawsuit is what caused a lot of chaos. And I remember Max V doing a video on that lawsuit, and he was not backing down from it. Like he wasn't saying like this don't look right, something ain't clean in the milk. Like he just was going with it like as if it was real. You know what I'm saying? And just like it was like something big and it was a big deal. And I was just like, you know what? Like, you can't be serious, Max, right? Like, I know you don't think this lawsuit is really serious. And he was just going through the paperwork and just going through, he was in his car, right? He was just going through the paperwork and just saying all kinds of stuff and everything. And then it was after that, he had came up on I don't remember whose panel it was, but we all got to talking to him and he was just going back and forth with us and everything. So, guys, it's really hard to say that Max wasn't an AFW, okay? Because, like I said, he literally was speaking AFW talking points. He was literally taking whatever he was sent in those emails, and Max was on the email list. Yes, he was. I remember his name being on that email list, okay? Max was getting these emails, and he was just going with whatever rhetoric that was in those emails, okay? That happened with multiple people. And I would love to just start naming names, but I'm not going to do that. I just remember absolutely that Max V was definitely, and Max, you know you're my boy, but we're going to talk about this, bro. You were most definitely following after AFW rhetoric until something happened. And it was the situation, and this is what made Max take his whole channel in another direction. Okay. And now Max is doing what he's doing. Shout out to Max. He's actually very successful. He's been successful at that channel for many years. But even before this whole thing, but either way, Max is no longer doing any of this stuff. Okay. I know he watches sometimes from the clouds, but he's not involved in this stuff. But, what ended up happening was, and I want to remember this right, but I remember Max coming up on live, and I remember it being that what's that guy's name? Y'all remember Big Man that was talking about some crazy stuff about kids and stuff like that, about doing stuff to little girls and stuff like that. Big Man had got up on his panel and he was talking crazy. And I'm not going to repeat what Big Man said, but I'm pretty sure y'all remember about the H hunting, right? That he was talking about. And next thing you know, Max's channel was getting hit. It was getting slammed because, and it was all kinds of stuff going on. And Max just realized that he was in too deep and he really wanted to get out of that, right? It was all kinds of other stuff going on too. But either way, the bottom line is Max was distinguishably on one side of the coin. Okay. It was not where Max was, in between or anything like that. Now, I will say this, and shout out to Max for this, because I met a lot of you also in Max's chat, right? Max did have a neutral panel though. So he would allow all of us to come on the panel and kind of debate with one another. He had one side of the coin, and then I would be on another side of the coin. I remember having a debate with Tiff Griff on that panel when I was still hanging out with AFW side. I remember having debates with TC, debates with Flacco. I done had all kinds of debates with people on that panel, right? And then as I was talking to them, and involved in that, I slowly started to see some patterns on the AFW side, right? Which reminded me, like I've told y'all many times, of the JWs, of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, so this is why, I started to back away a bit. And then I started to venture off into other places like D. Durrell's chat, and like TC's chat and stuff like that, and just starting to get to know them, and just kind of hearing their side of it, right? And then as I was doing that, I was realizing that this shit that was going on this side was just too much. It was crazy, right? It was chaotic. It was a bunch of bullshit. And then Monty made his infamous video about it. And I was in his chat and I said something to the nature of, yeah, you fight, you right, or whatever. Monty made a video. Let me just say that. Monty made a video about Lynn and Honor and how it was just too much shit. Him and AAS, it was just too much shit they was doing against Umar. Like, how many times are we gonna keep talking about the same man, right? And keep doing the same thing. And I mean, Monty had his share of stuff too, and parodies and stuff, and going up to the school, and all those videos were pretty funny. But either way, he was tired of it and kind of sick of it at this point. And then especially after Lennon didn't give him any credit for using his content, okay, and then trying to he brought him up for like a minute and then dropped him back down, and that was, he felt disrespected by that, and I can understand that, because Monty used to put a lot of work into his content. He still does, but he had put a lot of work into those parodies and stuff, so for Lennon to just use his content like that, and and just not have any respect, that's kind of when Monty just kind of turned his back, right? And again, I wasn't fully aware of all of that at the time, but I was aware of the fact that it just became too much, right? Like, it was just overkill what the AFWs were doing, right? And then like he said, and then Monty said what he said, and I was in his chat, and I was like, yeah, you damn right. Or I said something like that, right? I said, yeah, 100, or I don't remember what I said, but it was in agreement with what he was saying. Next thing I know, child, T-Pre was being, we'll say this, not a Umar follower, which is what my name was at the time. Not a Umar follower was being blocked over in Didi and Paige's chat, and E&J's chat, and Lennon's chats and stuff. And come to find out now, I know for a fact it wasn't them, right? It was actually AAS that was in those chats, and she was blocking my chats. She was blocking my super chats. She was blocking everything I would say, and so forth. Everything. She was right there just blocking it. As soon as I put it up, she blocked it before they even see it, which is why you gotta, and I'll get into the mod thing for just a second, which is why you have to trust your moderators, okay? You have to know your moderators. You got to trust your moderators. I have very select managing moderators in here, okay? I have standard moderators who are allowed to, do certain things. And then I have managing moderators who can actually do that, like block chats, block super chats and stuff like that. They are the ones that I really definitely, I know they're not going to do no shit like that. You see what I'm saying? So those are the ones that are in that space. I'm not saying that the ones that are standard would, but you got to work your way into that position. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to be able to trust you, because you really do have full control over somebody's channel when you do that. Particularly when, even after the show, they can come back and do things too. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be very, very careful who you mod up and who you make a managing mod. But this managing mod and standard mod thing is pretty new. It just came up this year. So while during this time when all this was going on, it was just straight moderators, okay? And Anti was a moderator in every single one of these chat rooms, including KKC, Lennon, Didi and Paige, anybody over there, she was a moderator. I don't recall her being a mod in E&J's chat. I think she was at one time, and I think they got rid of her ass when they realized she was trying to, because I remember them specifically going live and saying they were not going to be doing this and doing that. They didn't say her name, but they most definitely were addressing her, right? And they were letting her know that, nobody runs their channel. Nobody's going to be telling them when they're going to talk about something or how they're going to talk about something, and so forth. So I recall that. But they were they were one in a million when it came to that kind of shit, because a lot of people just did not want to stand up to AAS, and then again, people also believed that she was right too. You know what I'm saying? So either way, the bottom line is that's what was going on with that. And I wanted you guys to get an understanding from my point of view, from a perspective of a person who has been on both sides of this coin, right? Who has seen the AFW side and who has been on the good guys side and stayed on the good guys side. Literally, I can say that this is the reason why people believe y'all were part of the AFWs, okay? It's because y'all were going with that rhetoric. Everything that they said, y'all were going with. Y'all jumped out the window and believed. Y'all were, pushing that agenda. Like, this happened all the time. It's not anything new. It's not anything we're making up. This has happened, and there's multiple panels where this kind of stuff has happened. I'm not sure if Max V still has those videos up from the past, but I do, like I said, a lot of those videos are tall tale signs of what was going on during that time and who was on what side. Even in his chat, right? It will tell you who's who. Like Catherine Brown, for instance, was on the AFW side, right? I remember when I met Catherine Brown and what she told me, right? She let me know where she lived. She lived in Delaware. She let me know what was going on. And she let me know that there was a lawsuit pending. She let me know what was happening with that pending lawsuit. She let me know to be careful with using my name because at the time I had Tanisha Price in the chat. Okay. She was letting me know, be careful about using your name because these good guys and these people from Umar would come after you. This is stuff Catherine Brown taught me. You understand? All kinds of stuff. So I know, like I said, like I've been here long enough to see a whole lot of shit and long enough to see, who flips and who's what and who says that they're on a side and turns out that they're not, right? Like Catherine, y'all thought, like people like Tiff and people like TC and them at one time, they really thought that Catherine was on the side of Umar Johnson. And this whole time she was infiltrating that camp. That whole time she was doing that, okay? On behalf of AAS, working along with AAS, allegedly, okay? But either way, all right, and it turns out they ended up blowing up and having a big fight with their own lawsuit together, right? But either way, that's the kind of stuff that was happening. And this is the reason why people believe that people like Max and people like Smoke were part of the AFWs, okay? That is the reason. You might not have been. I can't speak for y'all. I can't say that you were or you weren't, right? All I can tell you is why we believed you were, okay? And that's the reason. If you were speaking, kind of from a free thinking point of view, you would have had a good Guyz affiliation. You understand what I'm saying? But the fact that y'all weren't and that y'all didn't want to budge from stuff. I remember having, y'all being on panels together and people asking you specific questions about AAS or specific questions about the AFWs, and y'all refused to answer those questions truthfully, right? Y'all just wanted to move forward and jump back and forth and everything. Kind of what Smoke was doing yesterday on Slander Guy's panel. And it was so funny, right? Shout out to the Smoke guy, because that's my bro, man. But shout out to him because it was almost like he thought we were still in 2020. You know what I'm saying? And still in 2021 when we was on them panels screaming back and forth with each other and you yelling over me and I'm yelling over you and we yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling and nobody really gets anything said, right? And in this sector, there was a time where you could do that and you were considered the winner if you screamed long enough or if you yelled over somebody loud enough or if you did it long enough, right? You were the winner. That is no longer the case in this sector. This sector has definitely moved on. We are not doing that anymore. Those days have died, okay? We now want to hear what the fuck you're saying, right? And then I'm going to say what I'm saying. We might get into a bit of a kerfuffle or whatever, but at some point, somebody is going to shut both of you the fuck up so that everybody can hear both of you, okay? Yesterday, Smoke, what you did... It reminded me of them days when we did that shit. We all did that. All of us were in on that, right? I've been on these panels, going back and forth with people, sparring with people. Y'all done did. There's multiple of us that have done this, okay? But now we're not doing that anymore. We're kind of like listening, right? Kind of getting an understanding of what you're saying and then allowing me to speak and then allowing you to speak. And then we're getting an understanding of each other so that we can move on. You understand what I'm saying? Like, literally, people want to move on. If you look around the sector, people are literally doing other content, right? People are doing other things. Shout out to Smoke. He's doing other content. Drama's doing other content. TC, myself, Darrell, Flock. Everybody's doing other content, right? We're not just all just focused on this anymore, and focused on each other. So, as you do that, you just move the sector forward too, right? You pull the sector on, you pull the sector to a new direction and do things different. And don't just keep doing the same thing because clearly that shit wasn't working in the past, right? Everybody was fighting back and forth and fighting, and we never got nothing solved. It was always a bunch of narratives that were created from those fights, you know what I'm saying, and everything. And now we're all kind of like, yeah, you got to come with receipts. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be saying shit. You got to come with receipts. You got to do this. You got to do that. And we're just expecting that now, right? So we're not looking anymore for people to just yell loud enough. And if you yell loud enough, you won. That's not how this works anymore. We're going to literally need to have, receipts from you. And, you can remain calm and just show us your receipts and then move on. But, the screaming and the hollering, people are hanging up on those conversations. People are tuning out. They're going to something else because we don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? It's just childish. And then on top of that, nobody gets anywhere. We can't hear you. We can't understand what's being said. You know what I mean? So, but either way, that was that. And that is exactly why, I personally, and I believe many others personally believe that, Max V was an AFW and that, Smoke God was on the AFW side. Because both of y'all were definitely on that email chain for sure. I remember the names that were on there, and y'all two were definitely on there. Okay, so that would be a definite reason for anybody to believe that. Okay, now as far as the good guys is concerned, right? Like I said, there were good guys and there were good guy affiliates. Okay, ultimately, I believe the original good guys were Darrell, Speakeasy, Flacco, and TC. Okay. Shaquem kind of came in, and then what's his name? Be Accountable, LV kind of came in. And they were more or less affiliates of the group, right? And then, but the original people were those four guys. Okay. They were the ones that kind of spearheaded this whole thing. They were the ones that were, given the shows, given the pushback and so forth. And given the talking points, right? And then everybody was kind of listening in on their panels or their shows, right? Because Speakeasy wasn't really doing panels. He was doing more shows, more uploads or whatever. But everybody else was kind of doing that. Oh, yeah, KG and Red Pill. But they came in. They weren't a part of it right away, right? Like TC brought them in. Red Pill was a friend of TC's, okay? KG was friends with Red Pill. And they came in after the fact. Like they kind of came in on the tail end. We had a lot of fun with them though. And shout out to Red. He was in here the other day. We had a lot of fun with them. There was a lot of events that they had, little parties and stuff. One was a birthday party, I believe, for KG. That's how Tiff Griff and TC fell out. From that situation over Catherine Brown, and so forth. So, but yeah, they came in after. They weren't original to the good guys. It was TC, it was Flacco, it was D Darrell, and it was Speakeasy. It was them four. And then everybody else kind of just added in or came in, after the fact. Even myself, I came in and as a support. Other people came in as a support. I remember Scarlett being in the group. I remember a lot of us being in, over there and around them. LB, many others, we all just kind of hung out over there, right? So, so there was a few of us over there, but ultimately the original ones were those four, okay? And that was because they had the talking points and stuff against what was going on with the AFWs. Flacco was actually on the other side at one time, and then he came over because C-Rock. Okay, so you're right. C-Rock was in that too. Okay, I have to be corrected on that. So C-Rock was, but I can't say he was part of the good guys. I just will say that C-Rock was on that side, right? But he wasn't, I can't call him a good guy, right? Because that whole name and that household name came up after C-Rock actually left the sector, because he left the sector. Like he left a while ago, and I don't think he's been back at all. But yeah, well, actually he did. He came back a couple times. I remember him being on Darrell's panel like once, maybe a couple years ago. But I haven't seen him since then. But yeah, you're right. I stand corrected on that. He was there, but he was there before they actually formed the actual name. You know what I'm saying? Like he was around when Flacco was around, and because there was a period of time where Flacco was cool with them, and then he went off on them after the whole Yasa situation happened. He was just tired at that point, and he went off on their asses. So he was around even during all that and everything else. So yeah, you are right. You are absolutely right about that. But I can't think of anybody else. But it would definitely be those four men that formed the actual Good Guyz household name. Okay. Now I want to say this too. Okay, because there tends to be this whole rumor that the Good Guyz brought in all this gay stuff into the sector and all this stuff. That's actually not true. Okay. Now I will say that Flacco had this whole thing going on about Lennon Honor. Now we're going to set every single one of them on their own pedestal. Okay. Because again, the Good Guyz, the difference between the Good Guyz and the AFWs is the Good Guyz can move in any direction that they wanted to. Okay. They can choose to do whatever they wanted. As a matter of fact, there was stuff that Shaquem was doing that a lot of us were not in agreement with. Okay. Which is halfway why a lot of them fell out. Okay. But there was a lot of stuff that Shaquem was doing, like calling CPS on Lennon, calling all these different authorities and stuff on Lennon. That stuff was stuff that Shaquem did independently. Okay. That was not a Good Guyz thing, even though AFW affiliates and AFWs wanted to make it appear that whoever was in this Good Guy group was the entire group was, responsible for whatever that one individual did. Okay. And that's not the case. Okay. So Shaquem and what he did, he stood on his own, platform with what he was doing by himself. As a matter of fact, there were many a times where TC and others would go and publicly tell him, nah, don't do that, bro. Or nah, you wrong. Or nah, we ain't going to be doing that. Or nah, I don't want to be part of that. Okay. But regardless of any of that, the narrative is always trying to be pushed that everybody in the group was down with whatever anybody in that group did. Okay. And that's not the case. Now, that is the case with the AFWs. Whatever somebody did in that group, everybody just was responsible. Everybody ran with it. Everybody was on the same page. And that is why anybody that was associated with AFWs or was an AFW actually believed that the Good Guyz were doing the same things. And we were not. Okay. Literally, they had a totally different kind of way of thinking. They were free thinkers. They did what they wanted and they did it independently. Okay. And then they would talk about whatever they did, in their own independent way with each other. And then they had a collective thought process when it came to the AFWs. But it wasn't, if you did it, we're all taking responsibility for it, because that's not the case. Okay. Even though AFWs did that, the Good Guyz did not. The other example of that was Flacco. Okay. And how Flacco, guys, now mind you, there was nowhere on that interview, nowhere was Shaquem. There wasn't an LV in those interviews. There wasn't a D. Durrell in those interviews. There wasn't a TC. There wasn't a Speakeasy on those interviews. It was Flacco and that white boy on that interview. Okay. Flacco interviewed that white boy who claimed that he was messing with Lennon Honor. Okay. It was Flacco. It wasn't another single soul on that call. There wasn't anybody else in the video. That man wasn't referencing anybody else. He was only talking to Flacco. Okay. So Flacco stands responsible for whatever he put out to this sector in regards to Lennon Honor and in regards to that man. Okay. Now, there's another side of this. Stefan, and shout out to my Stefan Gaetano. Stefan came out and said what he said in regards to Lennon Honor, okay? And in regards to this booty picture, okay? But again, here goes the AFW and AFW affiliates coming up with this rhetoric that anybody and everybody in that group is responsible for what one person does or what another person does. Everybody over there is collectively responsible. The reason why they thought that is, again, because Y'all did that stuff on the AFW side. Whatever one person did, everybody collectively did. Whatever one person thought, everybody collectively thought, okay? And everybody ran in the same direction. And if there was one little birdie that went another way, they would literally kick you out the group so everybody can keep going in the same direction. And because y'all were doing that, y'all thought everybody was doing that. And that is not the case, okay? Yes, there was a lot of pushback, okay, behind the scenes, because everybody doesn't fight in front of the scenes out here, okay? There was a lot of pushback behind all of that stuff. You guys just don't know, okay? But there was a lot. So again, here we go with the whole collective group, right? If one person does it, everybody's responsible for it. And that is not the case. You must blame or talk to whoever did it, okay? And it was Flacco that had those interviews had that interview with that man, okay? Now, can I say that, some of the good guys were running with the rhetoric? Yeah, they were, right? Including me, including other people. There were plenty of people that ran with the rhetoric, right? Oh yeah, they did it. Oh my God, Lennon is he, but it was based off of what Stephen was saying, right? I mean, I'll never forget that conversation that Stephen had when he went live and he was actually talking about what was going on with Lennon, right? I'll never forget that. He was in his car, right? It was a couple of times Stephen went live and talked about that. Now, what happened after the fact? I don't know. I don't know, who talked to who. I do remember Stephen going live later and saying that he felt betrayed, that he felt like, he was kind of pushed out there to say things or whatever. And, I don't know, right? I don't know what's true and what's not true. All I know is that it was Flacco that introduced that idea to the sector. It was not TC. It was not Darrell. It wasn't Shaquem. It wasn't LV. It wasn't the Speakeasy. It wasn't anybody in that camp except Flacco. Okay, so if you're going to blame anybody for anything, you got to blame individuals for their individual actions. Okay, you can't blame the whole group. Just like we can't blame the whole group of the AFWs for the fuck shit that Anti-Afro decides to do, or the fuck shit that Rev G decides to do, right? Even though people did blame the entire AFW group, including myself, for, things that was going on. And it was because of that, guys. It was because y'all chose to have a group-like thinking. Everybody had to think the same. Everybody had to do the same. Y'all all took the fall for everything. Y'all all jumped in the pit for everything. That is the reason why people did things like this and people treated y'all the way that they did. And I just wanted to give y'all my piece on that, okay? And just give y'all my point of view of the history of this and how things have went in the past and why things are shaped like they are today, right? In regards to this, and why people might think the way that they're thinking. I don't think it's even something to be offended by, right? I just think it's, an understanding of how history has kind of shaped people's thoughts on this, right? And why people are thinking the way that they are. Again, I get it, right? Being an AFW and even associating with such a name, even myself having been associated with this group at one time, it's not that it's embarrassing for me. It's more of a learning lesson. You know what I'm saying? And it's a like, hey, it is what it is. But it's definitely something that if I had been going hard, like some people were, if I had been really jumping out the window, calling businesses, trying to get people fired and doing all that stuff like some people were, trying to get blogs up and trying to put people in criminal rings and don't know what I'm talking about. If I was doing that kind of hardcore stuff, I think I would be pretty upset, and I think I would definitely want to say, yeah, I don't want anything to do with this. And I didn't have anything to do with that group. And I don't know who they are and who's AFWs. And I wasn't one of them. And I would probably be saying that too, But yeah, there was a lot of y'all that were going heavy ham hard for the AFWs, okay? And this is exactly why people thought you were AFW, okay? So, that's just what that is. But anyway, let me get into y'all comments. I definitely appreciate everybody for being in the building. And make sure y'all hit the like button, guys. And then we are going to get into this AFW video, okay? Not the AFW video, this anti-video with Boyce Watkins. We're going to finish that up because, guys, like I said, I just find it crazy that she was talking with Boyce like she was, or talking about Boyce like she was, and be having them same talking points over here. You know what I'm saying? And or about Black men in general. You know what I'm saying? So either way, we're going to get into that in just a second. Let me put a pause on that. But let me go ahead and get into you guys' comments. I appreciate all of you for being in the building. What's up, Steph? And Darrell, I appreciate you. You said CE stated Max V was an AFW. Yep. And yep, he did say that. And also, like I said, it's really hard not to associate Max V with the AFWs. I'm pretty sure Darrell and other people who have been on the free thinking side of this could understand exactly where I'm coming from with that. You know what I'm saying? Just simply because of the conversations that he was having. Even the people in the chat, a lot of y'all don't want to associate yourselves with AFWs, but the bottom line is y'all were running hard body for AFWs at one time, right? It just happens to be so that y'all realize Anti is out of her mind, okay? And now you want to, disassociate yourself with that. But just say that. Don't be acting like you weren't over there. And, I even admit I was over there, at one time. So, but don't be acting like you wasn't over there. What's up, Ray? Bestie, I appreciate you being in the building. Diggable Logic, I appreciate you as well. You said toast, Miss T. Pre and Loungers. And hey, Steph, you said, honest question. Please be honest. Back then, if someone was against Umar, was that person automatically an AFW? No, because I was not an Umar follower either, right? But I also, my name was literally not an Umar follower, right? But I also wasn't, I wasn't cool with what AFWs were doing. At some point, and when I really realized what was happening, I wasn't cool with that. So I was still against what Umar was doing, but I wasn't, I was also against the AFW. So I can't say that somebody who was against Umar was automatically an AFW. And even the good guys would say that because they know that I wasn't an Umar supporter at all. But I also wasn't, against him per se. I didn't think that he needed to be in jail. That's what I'll say. You said, what made someone an AFW? I'm not sure we have a good working definition. So AFW stands for Anti-Fraud Warrior. What AFW stood for at the time during this group was for them, okay, so for this question, for the AFW side, yes, okay. If you were against Umar, you were an AFW. If you were having any kind of pushback against the AFWs, you were on the good guy side. Okay, that was just that. That's how that was for them. For us, we didn't really care, right? You could be an Umar supporter or not. You could be an Umar supporter and be on their side. You could also be, not so much an Umar supporter, but you don't really want to see him in jail. You don't think he should be locked up. You don't think the dog should be called on him. You could also be on that same side. And, you didn't have to, necessarily be, you weren't an AFW, right? So I think that's what it was. I think it's a matter of whatever side of the coin that you were on how you were defined, right? So if you were on the anti-Afro side of this coin, then yeah, you would be an AFW, or she would consider you AFW, right? Or consider you a part of her affiliation. If you had any talking points against what they were saying, then you were on the good guy side. That's kind of the only real definition that I can come up with, just based off of that. You said, I remember that live. Max was definitely following orders that day. I'm saying, and Ray, you've been around here much longer than people think, right? So you know what I'm talking about. When he was live in his car and he was talking about that Archibald lawsuit, and he was given, Everybody know that lawsuit was crazy, right? But he was the only one up here like, I don't know, guys. We're going to get into this. And let me tell you what happened. And let's look at this paper. And I was like, Max, really? Like, really, bro? Okay. You said, I remember both those issues with Mac would make a change. And I think my memory is a bit different. I remember him saying he didn't think the lawsuit was real, but it was filed. So he guessed it was real. Yeah, that's kind of what he did say. Now, he also said he had ran the lawsuit against a family member that was an attorney. Okay. And that person laughed at the lawsuit. They said how unprofessional the lawsuit was, how unprofessional the paperwork was, how it just sounded like a bunch of bullshit. It was a bunch of rhetoric. So that's what he said. He said it's real because it has been filed, right? There's an actual case number. You can actually look it up. You know, like I told y'all before, anybody can sue anybody. You could sue your cat if you wanted to, right? That doesn't mean, you know, because there's a lawsuit that somehow there's going to be something, right? But yeah, so he was trying to say that, yeah, it's real because it's in the system, but the lawsuit itself, you know, like he can't say it's not, you know, because he's not an attorney. That's what he was saying. But he did bring it to his cousin or somebody in the family that was an attorney. And they were the ones that were able to look at it and be like, I don't think so. But it was real because it was in the system. So you're right about that, Steph. You said, I became aware of the Secktah October of 19, but knew of Umar's shenanigans for over 15 years since the debacle with UNIA. So I remember Umar from 2009. Okay, a lot of people try to say that that's not true, that Umar was collecting money for that school in 2009. And he was, okay? Now, he wasn't talking about the Moyer school at the time. At the time, he wasn't talking about that particular location. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Moyer was still open in 2009. If it might have been, if it wasn't 2009, it was around that time because there was a lot of charter schools in Wilmington at that time. Okay, and yeah, so I think Moyer was still open at the time. So I don't think he was looking at that location, but he was definitely talking about opening a school for Black boys in 2009. And he was definitely collecting money for that because I remember being at a conference for it. It was like at the Powell Center or somewhere like that, right? And I even left a donation. Like I forgot how much it was, but it wasn't a lot. You know, it was maybe like $25, $50, something. It wasn't a lot of money, you know what I mean? But it was enough, you know, to just give him something. And because I believed in the cause, you know what I'm saying? So Umar was definitely collecting money for the school back in 2009. Okay, now whether or not, you know, he wasn't talking about that location. He wasn't talking about the Wilmington location, but he was definitely talking about opening a school. Okay, and so that's how I remember Umar. And I remember my daughter back in 2020. I remember my daughter and I having a conversation. My oldest daughter. We were having a conversation about it because she was like, Mom, you know, whatever happened with the FDMG? And no, she was telling me about it and we were talking about it. And she was wondering whatever came of it, right? Because she remembered looking into it. And I remember her telling me about it like a couple of years before that. And I remember telling her that I had talked to this guy and, you know, and then she was like, yeah, this will be a really good school for Black kids. And this. My daughter's all for the community too, right? So I thought that was, you know, I thought it was great too. So I started looking into it. And guys, that's how I got into this rabbit hole because I was on YouTube and I looked and I looked up the FDMG. No, I Googled it or something like that. And Lennon Honors videos were coming up. And that's how I got into this sector, like literally Googling what was going on with FDMG. And that's how I got into the sector. Just listening to Lennon Honors videos. And I started reporting to my daughter what Lennon Honor was saying, right? I was like, oh, they're saying he's scamming and, you know, and all this stuff and everything. And, you know, we were watching for a while. My daughter don't watch him no more either. But, you know, we were watching for a while and different things. And, you know, either way, yeah, that's how I got to know what was going on with the Secktah and how I got into all of these shenanigans with Umar. He said, not only was she a mod, she was revered like a damn queen when she came into the chats. And that was fact. That is so factual. It's funny because there were so many people that were associated with the AFWs at one time. They had a lot of people in that camp, man. A lot of people. I can't even count how many people. Probably thousands of people over there. And I mean, they had a large following, large. And yeah, they just slowly but surely left. But if you go back and just kind of just hashtag anti-Afro or whatever, you'll be surprised how many people were speaking so highly of her at that time, right? But this was a long time ago. Now people are talking shit. And also there were other people that had been talking shit at that time as well. But there was a lot of people that actually fucked with her. They spoke very highly of AAS because of, her association with this anti-fraud warrior movement and trying to go against Umar. You said everything would stop and people would start groveling and listening and kissing her ring. She loved it. It was part of her identity. Exactly. And that's kind of what she does now, right? She expects that now. And she's not getting that same attention now. But she was getting it for a long time. What's up, Riz? I appreciate you being in the building. You said, I got blocked in Lennon's channel when I asked for receipts on Umar's drug use. You just can't make accusations without proof. Exactly. I remember them saying that Umar was cutting off the heat. Y'all know that y'all know that damn joke, that running joke that the trolls still run with. But yeah, they saying that he was cutting off the heat because he said he was gonna go cut off the heat, and he did something, and they could hear him doing snorting and all this other stuff, and that's how they came up with these ideas. Umar is not on drugs. Now that's one thing I can say. I don't think he's on drugs. Okay. Do I think he's bad with business? Yes. Do I think he just doesn't? He's kind of haughty, has a really big ego. Yes. But I don't think he's on drugs and all these other things. I don't think he was living at the schools. These are all the stuff that kind of the lies and the stuff that the AFWs were saying about him, and just keeping up these lies until people were, proving them wrong. You know what I'm saying? And you got to go up to the school. You got to do certain things to prove them wrong, And yeah, that was crazy. But shout out to you, Dig, for that, because that's something I didn't know. But yeah, a lot of people ended up getting blocked because they were asking questions and they were pushing back. That's what happened to Spottum too. I remember him going up on the panel. Y'all know that infamous time when he went up on Lennon's panel, right? I got a video about that. You said, I meant to say that I remember those videos with Max V. I remember a bit differently. I thought he said that the suit didn't look real, but it was filed. So he guessed it was. No, Max was, I remember that too, but I remember, maybe I just remember different. Max was definitely pushing that rhetoric. He had done that a couple of times, but the first video, he was saying, I'm not sure, but then as he was going along, he was really pushing that narrative about that lawsuit. He was doing that. And that wasn't the only thing. There was a lot of stuff that Max was pushing in regards to, support with the AFWs. But, hey, that's my memory of it. You said, on my way to work, however, the death of the AFW was them being exposed in chats. Yeah. What's up, Defraud? And I appreciate you being in the building. Have a great day at work, too. You said, homie, what's good, Defraud? You said, hey, Steph. You said, you're talking over me again, right? All right. We can't, yeah, we ain't doing that no more, man. Like we talking to each other, we're kind of listening to each other. But there was a time where it was the survival of the fittest. Whoever yelled and screamed the loudest is the one that won the fight, even if you were lying, right? You said KG and Red Pill. Yeah, I remember them, but they definitely weren't part of the original Good Guys. He said, after Red Pill and TC fell out, I was like, yep, it's over. SMH. What's up, Riz? I appreciate you. And C-Rock was definitely in on that side. You said, that was me. You said, I brought in the gay stuff, right? Stephanie, pause. You said, I still can't forget Lennon's leg, okay? What's up, Unadulterated? I appreciate you being in the building. You said, a comprehensive sector history this morning. That's what's up. Good morning, sis. Black Lounge Entertainment. Peace to the chat. I appreciate you, Unadulterated. You are one person that definitely was around during those times. You can definitely vouch for a lot of the things that I'm saying. You are also a Good Guy affiliate. So, you can definitely vouch for a lot of the stuff that we're talking about this morning. You said Riz anti-gay stuff in Miami. Anti-gay stuff in Miami. Good morning, Steph. Anti-crack more, get Molly. Y'all always make me do this shit, man. I'll be sick of you and Riz. Got me in here calling that bitch's name, man. You said Stephanie Collins. Good morning to you, sis. I hope all is great. What's up, CE? I appreciate you. You said Miss T. Pre, Grand Rising, peace, and peace to you, and Grand Rising as well, CE. You said unadulterated 100. You said CE 2024. You said Riz, anti so hungry, make me a Sammy. Riz, salute. You said Ray Trigg, salute. You said Steph, anti-crack whores in Cali. Anti-crack whores in Cali. You said, Riz, what's up, good brother? Great to see you. You said unadulterated. You said, I agree with that. What's up, Pills? I appreciate you being in the building. You said, if you receive certain emails from certain people, then you're AFW. Thank you very kindly, Pills. Yes. If you receive certain emails from certain people, then you are in AFW. Okay? Yes, that's what happened. That is what's going on, okay? And shout out to Pills, who was getting those emails at one time, all right? Shout out to him. I don't know if he's still getting them. I can't say. I can't confirm or deny. All I'm going to say is I know he was getting them, okay? And, yeah, she definitely was putting that nigga on a pedestal at one time. What's up, Make a Change? Appreciate you being in the building. You said no one wasn't AFW now, according to anti-golf pro, my golly. Right. It's just her and Rev G, right? They the only AFWs now, right? You said, I meant Max V, my phone autocorrect. Okay, no problem. I understand. You said, I remember Umar from the earlier Sinetter days. Then they fell out and Sinetter been claiming Umar since. Right. You said that would include you, Pills. Just a question. Right. He said, Stephanie, I was AFW some time ago, but not anymore. Right. And he was, and I will say that he's not anymore. And you know, I'm not going to speak on, or I can't confirm or deny how that came about. All I know is we got some good emails from my brother, and I still got them. Shout out to Pills. He said, makes sense. I would guess you didn't get them emails anymore, Pills. Right. You said one of the reasons AAS also mad at me is because she was sending that lawsuit documents to people that was making Umar videos. I replied and said this lawsuit is not going anywhere. Okay, so this is some news. So this is news to me. So what she was doing, guys, is AAS was sending this lawsuit to people who were making Umar videos. Okay, even though AAS claims that she had nothing to do with the lawsuit, right? But yeah, her and Aspirin were doing this lawsuit. They were working together, and she was the one that was updating the Secktah. She was the one that was sending it out to people. And Max Make a Change is letting you guys know. He told her, this lawsuit ain't going nowhere, ma'am. Okay. And that is why she fell out with him and felt some type of way, because he was not pushing her narrative. Okay. Don't that sound all too familiar, y'all? You said that was before I even said anything publicly about the lawsuit. Okay. So you said that to her privately. She was in her bag. And then, you know, all this stuff started between y'all. Next thing you know, you said something publicly about the lawsuit, about what your cousin or what your family member had said. So that's what's up. I appreciate you clearing that up. Make a change. And you said, I just found an old email from 10/6/11 to my ex talking about a collab with our dance school with Umar if he got the school open. Wow. That is wild. That is wild. You said, and it drove her over the edge when she stopped getting that adoration. Yep, absolutely. You said, UT, you have a dance school? Badass, right, for sure. I went to school for dance when I was a kid. I took ballet, tap, and jazz when I was a kid. And I won several awards for that, too. You said, Red Pill would never let you say he wasn't an original good guy. He created all their stuff. He did create a lot of music. He definitely did. He's definitely an excellent producer. But I can't call him an original good guy. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But I can't call him one. I don't even think he would call himself an original good guy. He said the only email I ever got was telling me to stop calling her crazy. Or else she would take more drastic measures. Oh, shit. CE for 2024. Her dumbass sent in super chats to KKC talking about our strategy in regards to Archibald. Don't make no motherfucking sense. And you know what? I do remember that. I remember there being, what the strategies were and what was going to happen from here and her sending those in super chats. I do remember that. Yeah. Like I said, she was most definitely a part of that Archibald lawsuit. No matter how much she tries to separate herself from it, she cannot separate herself from that, guys, at all. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, okay? And then we are going to get into the rest of this video. I'm going to let this video kind of play out for you guys because I've got a couple of things I need to do in the background. But I'm going to let you guys play out this video and just kind of hear what's going on with AAS and them. And then we're going to get right into this, okay? But let's take a quick break. We're going to take a 1-minute timer, and then we're going to get right into the show. Make a change. I appreciate you saying that because I actually do too. And I put proof of that in a video I did on her, probably did this video about 8 months ago, maybe 8 or 9 months ago. I did this video, right, on her and her association with the lawsuit, her association with Catherine, all that stuff. And I put actual evidence that she knew stuff about this lawsuit before it was even on Pacer. Okay, like, how did she know some of these things that she was sending over to the Secktah? Like, she was telling the Secktah about these things, and going live. Well, not live, doing uploads, going in super chats and everything, giving updates on things that nobody would have known except the court or whoever filed. Okay, because it literally was not even on Pacer yet, the stuff that she was saying. And I showed proof of that too. So you may have some other proof that I'd love to see. So hopefully in the future, you will be giving us that information. So shout out to you guys for all of that. But guys, let's go ahead and get into this. Again, this is a video from Max City Limits radio show, okay? I will put a link to it in the description box. I meant to do that yesterday. I may have done it yesterday. I don't remember. Anyway, I'm going to put a link to it today so that you guys can get over here and hear this video. But we are going to get into this right now because, again, we are kind of comparing what AAS was doing back then 4 years ago, right, with Boyce Watkins when she was making multiple videos about him, lying on him, multiple videos about Umar lying on him, and multiple videos about Darrell lying on him and so forth. And just how she is then, how she was then and how she is now. And how many, if there's even any differences in what's going on. What's up, LV? You said, Mac, I still remember Taz went off on you when you said that lawsuit was all over the place. Right. Don't make no fucking sense, yo. And it was. And what they got to say now, right? But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this right now, guys.
Change date. If you look at the Secretary,
and I'll be doing some stuff in the background, so don't mind if y'all hear some noise in the background.
It says that on August the 11th, 2017, this company was dissolved. This woman filed this suit a year later with a company that no longer exists. Do you know how retarded that is? She's suing a company that isn't there.
Oh, okay.
It's gone. She's suing a company that doesn't exist and hadn't existed at the time she filed the lawsuit.
That makes sense.
She's suing a company that doesn't even exist. That tells me that there are serious problems with this woman's lawsuit.
Okay.
It also tells me that this is not really about money. This is about, let me take that back. Let me rephrase it. This is about money, but the impetus of this lawsuit is about dick and pussy politics. I want more. I was fucking you, so I want more. You understand?
Okay.
It says, the status says involuntary dissolution, which means it's dissolved. She was right about that. A broken clock is right at least twice a day. It happened on October 11, 2017. She sued him, or he got served with the notice in September 2018. So this woman named all of those entities, and all of them are already gone.
Okay.
You see? So most of these people are going to have to be dismissed anyway. The Blackwell boot camp is going to get dismissed because it doesn't even exist. Now, arguably, what she may say is that I contracted with him under Blackwell boot camp, which is that's an assertion she could make. At the time when I was with him, this entity was functional, but the question becomes, okay, how do you collect against a dissolved corporation?
What I want to know is, maybe this is like a chess move by Dr. Boyce Watkins. Maybe he's seen the old girl was set to sue him, so he went ahead and just somehow just wiped his shit clean, where he don't have any of these businesses where she can't come and collect on it. You know what I mean? Now, how it would be involuntary, I don't know, because he hasn't been paid. He didn't pay a certain amount of fees.
Yeah, because you have to pay the every year you have to pay a certain fee to the Secretary of State in order for it to be recognized. If you don't pay that fee, they shut you down. So maybe that's what happened, and that's what she's alleging here. In fairness, but I think I agree with you. I think what it was, he started to see. It's just like you. You start to see when these hoes become too ungrateful. I'm sorry. You start to see when these females become too ungrateful.
Right.
They start wanting more and more, and then what do? Well, sooner or later, I'm gonna have to cut this broad off.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? She getting a little too ungrateful.
Right.
Her hand is out too excessively. She's starting to think she deserves more than what she's actively worth. And because I'm vulnerable now, I need to start cutting ties with this broad. I need to stop the bleeding. I need to cut ties with this broad before I am in serious danger. And I think that's actually what happened. He started to see what I personally believe. I believe that when he started trying to get in her drawers, she started being a little bit more apprehensive. She started being a little bit more hesitant to give him his share of booty. She started giving him more mouth than she gave him booty. And he started to see, oh my God, what have I done? You see what I'm saying? Now, he realized how vulnerable he was financially to her. And I think he made a move to protect himself financially from just this type of action. I agree. I think that's actually what happened. I think that's what he did. He started to see, she on some new shit now. The honeymoon period in this relationship is over. This woman feels that she's entitled. You know, she has this sense of entitlement to where she wants more than what she deserves. And she thinks that because she's sleeping with me, that she just deserved the world. And so, you know, and I think he felt maybe a little bit guilty because he coaxed this girl away from her job in Mobile County, Alabama, which is where she was living. I think it was in the area of maybe Baldwin, Foley, or someplace in Mobile County. He coaxed her away from her job that was probably very secure, and it was on the basis of this relationship. The relationship isn't working, and he wanted to get rid of this girl now, and now he's trying to find a way to get rid of her safely and quietly. He doesn't know how to do it, but he did what he was supposed to do, protect his money. He knew that this was a threat. Boyce Watkins is not stupid. He may be a simp, but I don't think he's stupid. He said, it's time for me to protect, let me protect my wallet. Let me protect my sack, because that's the first. He knows what the deal is. That's the first thing they're gonna come for when they can't get when they can't get their way. They're gonna come for your paper. And I think this is actually what he did. I think he allowed this to expire on purpose.
Shit, because she mentioned these businesses in the lawsuit, right?
Mm-hmm. Every one of these businesses.
Saying that she had no knowledge that he had a dissolution.
Yeah, he was one step ahead of her.
Right.
That's what it was. It looks like from here he outslicked her.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So what he did was he just didn't tell her. He just went ahead and dissolved the business. Mm-hmm. Now, in fairness to her, there may be a little bit of a liability there, because you can't have this woman working for a company that you dissolved. Mm-hmm. Now, arguably, she may have a case there. You can't be paying her or having her work on a company, and that may be his Waterloo. That may be the albatross that drags him underwater here.
No, but she stopped working for him
when
years ago, though, right?
Okay.
Like a year ago or something.
Something like that. A year.
So
probably around the time of this dissolution that this was dissolved. But I'm not sure of the date there. But my point here is that if there is a potential liability on Mr. Watkins' behalf, it would be here with respect to her. If he's having her work for businesses that don't exist, now that's problematic. But if that is not the case, then she really looks kind of funny right now.
Okay.
She really looks kind of out there right now, suing companies that were already dissolved by the state. It looks like you're just grasping at straws, trying to find, that you're trying to find that sack. You're sack chasing. You're trying to find the company, where the sack is, the old 3-card Molly game.
Right.
She's trying to find under which cup the money is hide. And it also shows that maybe her attorneys didn't do their due diligence, because if her attorneys did their due diligence, this should have been listed in the complaint. Because if anything is an indication of misrepresentation, is this.
Okay.
They should have listed this they should have listed that these business entities were involuntarily dissolved because that evidences misrepresentation. But they didn't do that. That's why to me this has the appeal of dick and pussy politics and somebody trying to get cashed out, somebody sack chasing because they don't feel that they got their share of the loot. Let's go.
Fees. Then you have Watkins Media Group, defunct, did not pay its regulatory fees, non-operational. Now here's the change, people. The recent change since.
And also, to be fair, that this was not possibly a master move on Boyce's behalf. This was dissolved in 2017.
March 10th.
Mm-hmm. So, more than, I don't know, unless he's seen her tripping way back then to try and stop a lawsuit way back then. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. So, but yeah, that was dissolved in March 2017. So, that may fly in the face of him being a mastermind and trying to stop her off at the pass.
Or he may have just been making so much money in other places that he just let it lapse.
Exactly.
That could be it too.
And this is kind of like what I'm thinking happened, right? Like Boyce seems to be pretty good with business. From what I've seen, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of his talking points, right? There's a few things that I don't agree with Boyce Watkins, but I don't, I'm not against him, especially when it comes to like financial literacy and stuff like that, okay? There are some things that I do disagree with him on financial literacy, but for the most part, I agree with a lot of things he says, right? When it comes to the financial aspect of things. So, there could be very many reasons why somebody dissolves a business. Okay. It could be in a bankruptcy. It could be, just because they feel like it. It could be, they see something coming down the pipeline that could become a potential problem for them. There could be many reasons why that happens, but ultimately AAS's warped way of thinking when it comes to business and how business works and why she has been unsuccessful in business for as long as she has, this is kind of the talking points that she thinks of, which she thinks makes someone unsuccessful, right? Or would prove how a man is not successful or prove that this man is somebody that, you know, people shouldn't agree with or people shouldn't go along with, you know, but it just clearly shows how uneducated she is in regards to business and in regards to finances.
Okay, let's go.
The lawsuits were filed. Boyce Watkins started another, quote, business. Let's see how long this is going to stay up. It is called the Nubian Network. Let me see if I got that correct.
Okay.
Fly.
Okay, this is the this the Fly Nubian Queens, right?
Right.
This is Michi X and Vicky Dillard and the rest of them.
Right.
December 6th, that would jive around the time that they began to pop up on social media, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's nothing fraudulent about that. Just because he opened a platform, you know, for them to get paid, right? That means nothing. So,
Don't know what that's got to do with
anything. No.
Let's go.
Nubian Media on December the 6th, 2018. I smell exploitation. How long?
See that's what that's about. See, that's what that's about. And now that is crazy ass. I think she's not exploitation. I think what she's trying to say is he's using this to get pussy, and I agree with her.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do think that this is his way to hit on bras, but I think now he has this other woman and so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually think that he is opening this up as a vehicle for women. But then my question, you know, play devil's advocate, why aren't you opening up any opportunities for niggas?
Right.
You see
How
what I'm
about
saying?
that?
It's clear what you're doing here.
Like, why does she care? In other words, why does she care, you know, what he does with his dick? You know what I'm saying? If he chooses to use this as a way, you know, for women to be attracted to him, so what? You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever you eat don't make me shit. You know what I'm saying? So why does it matter? Why does she fixate herself on what other people are doing all the time? Why does that bother her to this level? You know what I'm saying? Like, if he's not fucking her, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, for real.
Okay. You are clearly sitting here pandering to these females for what purpose? Oh, I just think black women are strong, and I just think they're ambitious, and I just think they're more driven. Bullshit. That is 100% horseshit. And that is from my subjective prejudice.
And it could be, you know what I'm saying? But
experience.
My thing is like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not attracted to Boyce Watkins, so it doesn't bother me if he is using whatever he's using to attract women. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not attracted to him, so I can care less whether that happens or not. You feel me? Like, in other words, I don't know why these things bother AAS so much of who these people are, you know, are dealing with. It's just crazy.
Open this. It does indicate that he's trying to draw
That's not him,
to his
though.
platform.
What's up, I am here?
Sexual exploitation.
That's not him, though.
No. At this point, everybody know what it is. Just like with R. Kelly, everybody knew what it was.
Right.
So if you choose to go back and let him shove his pipe in your mouth, I'm sorry, that's sex. I don't want to get you hot and bothered.
Nasty and disgusting.
Yeah, nasty and disgusting. If he's drawing these women back to his private lair for the purposes of sleeping with them, that's what guys with money usually do. They usually try to tempt women with their success.
Mm-hmm.
And but we all know what the game is. Everybody knows what that's about. And women know what that's about. So if they
women catch on to shit like that, right? Well, some do.
So
let's go.
What the hell is he up there talking about? He's going to sue somebody and he's got all this multi-million dollars in monopoly money. Yes, you got multi-million dollars. I believe you have Milton Bradley stacked up in your house, the monopoly boxes, and that is what you're using to pay people. And then you're threatening them. If they go any further with it, you're going to come on the internet and talk about their personal business. That is so freaking pathetic. I am so glad that Maria Lloyd.
So wait a minute. Did y'all hear that? So, if you disagree with anything, she's claiming that she feels some type of way that if anybody disagrees with Boyce, then he's going to go on the internet and air out their business. And AAS is in her bag about that. What? wait the fuck a minute, homegirl. You be the main person that if somebody disagrees with your ass, okay? If anybody just disagrees with the color of the sky, you want to air out lies about them and air out their business and dox them and find out who their mom and their dad is and who their grandparents are and who their kids are and all this other stuff and send your little minions out to dox them. Bitch, stop it. What the fuck? Girl.
And Mika
Girl.
Brown ignored Boyce Watkins and filed a lawsuit. Again, prove that you can respond to a lawsuit when you've been sued before you start thinking about suing Paris Milan for what? That would indeed be frivolous. Now, why the hell Boyce Watkins is calling it frivolous? Why is it taking 4 months to respond to a frivolous lawsuit? It was frivolous. You would have already got the judge to dismiss it.
Here's why.
Here's why. Wasn't Michi X on that Fly Nubian Queen network at one time? I think Michi X was on there at one time.
Here's why.
Because Boyce Watkins is a simp.
Yeah.
Here's why. Yeah. And also because Boyce Watkins doesn't want this going to court. He doesn't want all of the dirt of their relationship being aired to the public.
Right.
That's why. Boyce Watkins is allowing this girl to
Okay.
be out of pocket because he's afraid of what may be exposed as a result of this lawsuit.
Okay, Diggable.
And he doesn't want the proverbial black people tearing each other down, but
Okay.
it's gone past that now.
I thought so.
There's nothing he can do about that because this lawsuit is not going to go away without a substantial amount of money being given to Maria Lord. Unless he's able to file a motion for summary judgment, which is a pre-trial motion. File a motion for summary judgment and get it kicked, which is what they usually do when they file an answer. But in some instances, it's what they usually do, but it's not what they always do, Miss Moore. Sometimes what they do is, if you know anything about a trial schedule or the court docket or the docket calendar, the court sets a period for filings to be for pleadings to be filed with the court. They set up a specific time for pleadings to be filed, and they also have at least a 90 to 100 day period for discovery. That's the investigatory period. That's where your interrogatories come from. That's where your depositions come from. That's where your request for admissions and document production. Because speaking of which, I have to draw one of those up. But anyway, that discovery period is usually 3 to 4 months. And then what will happen is the judge sets something called a dispositive motion cutoff. Meaning, dispositive motion means the motions to dismiss the lawsuit. That's the cutoff date. He sets a date. You have to have your motion for summary disposition, or let me make it plain. The motion to dismiss the case. You have to have that motion filed by this date. That's what dispositive motion cutoff means. Mm-hmm. Dispositive motion means a motion to dismiss for all intents and purposes. So that's all a part of the schedule.
I'll tell you, we is in law school here in this sector, y'all. We've been out here learning what all kinds of stuff means. Motions to dismiss, despondents, dispositions, depositions, all kinds of shit. Defendants, plaintiffs, all kinds of shit. Traffic violations, payday loans, all kinds of shit out this one.
Time or the time that's set aside
evictions.
For particular dates. So what some lawyers will do, they will wait until after discovery. Some of them will come straight out the bat and get it dismissed.
Sector court.
Meaning there's an issue that is so basic and fundamental to law that this shouldn't go any further and they don't want to waste any time. Other times what will happen is lawyers will wait until after the period of discovery ends. And then after discovery is over, then they file a motion for summary judgment or summary disposition to have your case kicked. So sometimes they do it with the answer. Sometimes they do it after discovery has closed, but before the cutoff date to have the motion filed. You understand where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. You see?
Check this out, man. This is a pop my collar moment right here. Look, check this out. Where else are you going to go on YouTube and get stellar breakdowns like that on some legal shit, man?
Exactly.
Okay? Where else am I more? I'm trying to tell man, these idiot ass some bitches in my comment section got the nerve to be trying to challenge What's going on this channel, man? Yeah, this is a pop my collar moment. Some nigga shit right about now. I had to stop and just admire the work. God damn, Tony, man. Beautiful breakdown. Beautiful analysis of the situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, the nerve of these motherfuckers get on here trying to test this wisdom. Damn. Can I proceed?
You can proceed.
Let's proceed.
So damn frivolous. The freaking lawsuit has not been dismissed because the full hasn't been considered, I'll say that, which is a legitimate situation in any lawsuit. The judge is going to look at the initial filing by the plaintiff, then look at the defendant's response, and then the natural course is to determine whether or not you get to go to the next step. The judge hasn't even been able to do that because Boyce Watkins is taking 4+ months to file a response to a lawsuit that he's getting on the internet telling everybody is frivolous.
The judge doesn't do that.
Have you ever?
So what?
The judge doesn't do that.
Doesn't do what?
The judge doesn't look at the allegations and determines whether or not to let it go. What happens is the person files the complaint. You respond to the allegations listed in the complaint, and you assert something called affirmative defenses. Defenses which, if true, totally knock out the person's complaint, but the judge doesn't do that. That's either within the province of the jury, or that's something that one of the attorneys raised on a motion to dismiss, a motion for summary judgment, a motion for summary disposition. It's the attorney that says, hey, judge, look, she doesn't have a case. She doesn't have a case because, one, she waited too long to file. Two, she doesn't have the statute of limitations. Or two,
What's up, Death
she doesn't
Test
have
Karma?
a case because the business judgment rule says he's allowed to do this if it is within the interest of protecting, maintaining, and growing his business. So she doesn't have a case here because this falls under the business judgment exception.
Everybody hit the like button, please.
Judge, her case should be dismissed because
We don't have enough likes on here. Y'all got to hit the like button.
So she isn't even suing anyone. She hasn't even
We'll play y'all a quick
pointed out in her
timer while y'all
complaint
do that.
what will happen.
Everybody hit the like, the dislike, something. I don't care what you hit something, guys, because we got to get engagement in here. Y'all got to learn how to support so that we can keep the algorithm going for each other. Let's hit that like button, guys. Truly appreciate that, guys. Listen, guys, when I ask y'all to hit the like button or hit the dislike or whatever, it is the algorithm reasons, okay? All of us are content creators. We all deserve to be respected We all deserve for whatever content that we're putting out to be supported, okay? And so we should be supporting each other. I do understand that there are people who are not content creators and don't really understand the importance of that, okay? But it is very important. We rely on you guys, literally, okay? I know a lot of times there's been running jokes around here where we'd be like, fuck the chat and doing all that kind of stuff. You know, listen, guys, y'all know damn well the audience is what runs YouTube, okay? And if you guys can just hit the like button or hit that dislike button, it really, really helps with the algorithm, and it really, really helps all content creators who happen to be in the same algorithm, okay? So make sure that y'all are hitting the like button. It's so easy. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. And then you get to get, you know, whatever content you're looking for. So let's go ahead and get right back into this. And I'm going to check and see if this is the real Propane. But shout out to Propane. I appreciate you being in the building. And Ms. Murph, you said you hit the like when you came in. And I definitely do appreciate that. And Def Test Karma, I haven't seen you in a while. Appreciate you being in the building. Ray, you said, Mac, yeah, I laughed at the whole video. She has really fallen off when Make a Change had said, Triggs, did you see AAS running with that wolf pick? That shit was crazy. And no, I don't believe that was him. I don't even believe that's him. As a matter of fact, I wanted to do I wanted to take the photo itself and do a trace on it right in front of you guys and show you guys that that video, that picture is actually part of multiple memes all across Facebook, all across all kinds of different social media places. Okay, so I'm going to do it one day if I ever have the opportunity to just take the video and do a Google image search for you guys, and you guys will see for yourselves that is not Propane in that video. Okay, that is, I mean, in that picture, that is some guy, and they use that meme all over the place for various different jokes. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna need y'all to vet information that you're getting. There's not an amount of money in the world that anybody can pay me to just lie on somebody. Like, it ain't that fucking deep, okay? And then take it down at that. And I'm not saying anything about anybody in particular. If you take it that way, you just fucking do. But the bottom line is, what you need to do is vet your information before you throw shit out there. And you can't trust shit that Anti-Afro puts out there. I'm just saying. Now, let's go ahead and keep going with the show.
She has even pointed out in her complaint how these.
Oh, shit. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on one second, y'all. I'm gonna stay on here. Hey, Boop, I'm live. Okay, I'll call you in a minute. Okay. All right, guys, let's go ahead.
Wronged her after she left, if she left, after these things were disclosed, or if she knew about, after these corporations were dissolved, or if she knew they were dissolved and then sued, because ordinarily you cannot collect against an institution that does not exist. So these are a bunch of different ways for him to say, well, look, this case needs to be thrown out. Or the judge can say, well, wait a minute, when were these entities did she contract with Black Wealth Boot Camp? Did she contract with Your Black World? Did she contract with Boyce Watkins Enterprises? Did she contract with Watkins Media Group? Because if she did contract at that time, she would be within her right. But then the court, they still be inside of the lawsuit, even though they've been dissolved. And when did he dissolve these entities? Well, he dissolved these entities a year before you bought the action. So clearly he didn't do this fraudulently to keep from paying you, not in the eyes of the law, because these entities were dissolved before you even filed this claim in a court of law. Mm-hmm. So now the question becomes is, who owes Miss Lloyd what? And why do they owe her that? That's what this case is about. Who owes her what, and why do they owe her? So a judge doesn't take a look at complaints and decide who's who or what's what. He takes a look at that shit. He set that scheduling order and said, by this date, you got to do this, 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 and this. By this date, you got to do this, 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 and this. And then what happens is, it's the litigants. It's the counsel for the litigants in the matter that determine, what's going to happen.
All right. So this is most definite. This is your backup page. I mean, I'm gonna drop the link, because I don't believe you. Because I was about to block you. Real nigga shit, okay? I'm going to drop the link. I want you to be able to come up here and tell me that that's your backup page. If you can tell me that's your backup page, I'll keep it here. If not, I was about to block that channel. Let me know if you got 5 minutes, okay? If you don't hit that link, I'm gonna block that channel.
They file the motions. They request the hearings from the judge. A motion or a hearing, that's how attorneys talk to the judge.
Nobody touched that page
Judge,
yet.
we need to talk, in essence, breaking it down. A motion is saying, well, Judge, we both need to be heard on this issue. We need to come holler at you because there's a problem here. We need something determined. We need to determine whether this is the right part.
Yep, you're getting blocked then. I promise you, you're going to get blocked. If you don't come up, I drive and hit panels. I can drive and hit a panel. So you can hit the panel or you get blocked. You got 5 minutes.
A factual issue of the complaint. We need some type of determination in this lawsuit that will let us know how to either prosecute it or defend it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Motions are how you get into the court to talk to the attorney. So that the judge don't do shit but sit on his ass. And at the trial, when he's at the trial, he'll give a ruling on evidence, and he'll ultimately make a decision. And that doesn't even come to him.
You don't even got 5 minutes. You have a wonderful day.
He only instructs the jury as to how they must make that decision.
Let me ask you this, man. Listening to Mrs. Fingali,
I'm gonna show y'all the channel.
Give me on a scale of 1 to 10, like, what do you think her knowledge base of legal proceedings is on a scale of 1 to 10?
3,
man. Ooh, shit.
3.
Damn.
3.
Shit. So from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best,
3,
and 1 being
that's
the
the channel, guys.
You're saying she's a 3.
That is not Propane's channel. Okay. This joined June 22nd, 2023. And I'm actually about to report the channel as well. They are impersonating someone else. See, that's what you do with motherfuckers like that, okay? You just go ahead and you report their ass, and then you let YouTube know what's going on with them. Okay, I'm about to report the channel. I don't know why I couldn't scroll down, but I'm gonna go ahead and go report that channel. But you guys, that is the channel that's claiming that they are Propane. This is not Propane. Okay, there is no information. I'm gonna tell you something about this channel as well, so you guys know the differences in these channels. Okay. Now, somebody could say, oh, this is his channel. He took all his videos down. Even if you take all your videos down, it's still going to say how many videos you have made, okay? It's just going to say that those videos, you won't see them. It may say this channel doesn't have any content because that person may have blocked or, not blocked, but privated those videos or just removed the videos altogether. But there would still be a number of how many videos there are, okay? So that's how you kind of can gauge. Also, you go to the About page, and it'll tell you the stats on the channel and how long they've been here, right? And, you could clearly see this person has attempted to put a description in here, okay, in regards to all this stuff. But no, I don't believe that is his actual channel, okay? So we'll go from there. And like I said, you could have just hit the link and let me know that was you. But I know that wasn't you. Okay. And that's just that. So either way, shout out to the real Propane Oak Lane, the real wolf out here. But yeah, everybody want to be motherfucking wolf, and they just not you. Okay. Yeah, they not you. All right, y'all, let's keep going with this video because we got a little bit more to go.
3. All right, man. I was just wondering, man. Okay. So y'all heard it here. She's a 3. You hear that, M.I. Moore? Yeah, 3. So let's go.
Or heard anything so ridiculous? If a lawsuit was frivolous, you could represent yourself and get it kicked out of court.
That's another stupid.
And a lot of people
Stop. Okay.
You can only represent yourself in a action if you are being sued as the individual.
Okay.
So and Boyce Watkins here is being sued as an individual. She's suing him as an individual and under the auspices of these other companies. So he could defend himself where he is named as an individual litigant. He's not doing that, but he's within his right to do so. But if you're being sued, and this woman is not looking for money from him, she's looking for money from his companies. You just named him because that's what you do, because you name all defendants. All defendants are named in a lawsuit. So first of all, because these are corporations, there is a court rule, an administrative court rule that prevents you from representing yourself if you're being sued as a corporation. I said that before. I'm going to say it again. Mm-hmm. There is an administrative court rule that prevents you from representing yourself if you are a corporation. You must have a lawyer. The only time that you can represent yourself is if you are being sued as an individual. Then you can represent yourself. But if you are appearing on behalf or as an officer or principal of a corporation, you have to have an attorney.
So back up, let's get some clarification here. So is he allowed to defend himself? In this instance where he is being sued, right.
Yes, it would not be wise of him to do so.
Okay.
But that's why he went and got a lawyer. So he's not. Yes, he can, but that's not what he's doing.
Okay.
He has a lawyer. Initially, he had Michael T. Sterling. Now he has Roderick Whipper.
So Ms. Svengali in this instance is correct.
Ms. Svengali is correct in a manner of speaking. In this instance, for all intents and purposes, no, because although he's being sued as an individual, he's being sued. See all those companies up there? Yeah. He got to have an attorney.
Okay,
right. He has to have an attorney. So, in a manner of speaking, one could say she would be correct normally. In this instance, no, she is not. Because look at what's up there. Defendants, Boyce Watkins Enterprise, LLC. Great Black Speakers, LLC. Lawrence Watkins, that's his brother. And he can't represent his brother. Boyce Watkins as an individual, okay? Mm-hmm. Yes, in that instance, Watkins Media Group, LLC. He cannot be present without an attorney. He can't be present without an attorney.
Okay.
It's impossible.
So she's wrong in this instance.
She's wrong in this instance.
To have an attorney.
Yes, here he has to, because of the presence of all these other defendants, corporate defendants.
Okay. All right, that's all I wanted to know, man. So proceed?
Yeah.
All right.
Listening have done that. They don't need an attorney. It's up to you if you want to get an attorney or not. But if it's so frivolous, on what grounds is it frivolous? These are just scare tactics. Boyce Watkins is so scared that he's asking the judge for 2 extensions. 2 extensions.
Now look at that. Stop. Now see her own evidence. What she put up here on this, that debunks her whole entire argument. She got up here a motion to substitute counsel.
Right.
He's getting a motion for substitute. He's getting this additional time because he's changing attorneys.
Okay.
It's
Which
right
is,
here.
you're allowed to do
right
that.
Here on the goddamn screen.
Duh. She's so
and
dumb.
The judge explains why. He says it here.
Now, what's her gripe here? Because she's so rambling all over the place. I kind of zoned out. She was like, "What's her gripe with him about? What is it?
He's taking so long to file, and he's getting the judge to grant him an extension. In essence, because he's trying to represent himself. He hasn't filed. It's more the same shit. Mm-hmm. It's mumbo jumbo because it's not frivolous because he's taking too long to file. That's what she's saying. Okay. It's not frivolous because it's taking too long to file. No, the shit could still be frivolous. He's just changing attorneys.
Facts. Okay. Every part.
Yeah, it's right there in black and white.
Right here in black and white.
She's like ignoring the shit. Like
she batting 0 with legal. She batting 0 with therapy. Every goddamn thing.
And she don't see it.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
And that's not even the worst of it, people. Let's talk about Boyce Watkins' new lawyer. He supposedly has this attorney with all these years of experience. And did you see it in the previous video? Which is why I didn't do commentary in the previous video, because I wanted people to take time to read the documents. But the lawyer, the new attorney that Boyce Watkins got, has a history of disciplinary issues.
What?
I think it's a setup. I think Boyce deliberately selected this lawyer so he can have another.
I got a question on that. Now, maybe they'll get into that a little bit more, but listen, y'all. How the fuck does this stalker, AAS, know anything about Boyce Watkins' attorneys, right? This, like, listen, y'all, I am not looking into anybody's shit like that, okay? Yes, I was breaking the culture's motherfucking bullshit out here. I was putting all her shit out and showing y'all. I didn't even show y'all half of her shit yet, okay? But listen, honey, I wish I would look into who her fucking attorneys are and what's going on with her attorney. She don't even got no fucking attorney. But if she did, I damn sure wouldn't be looking up that person's information and trying to find out anything about them, okay? I just want the paperwork. I just want the goddamn case number. That's it. I don't give a fuck what's going on with their attorney. But this is how much of a stalker this woman is, that she will be looking up and doxing this man's attorney to find out shit about the attorney. And God knows if she's telling us the truth or not. She could be making that shit up too, like she be making up shit as she goes along.
To get a third extension.
The attorney?
That is absolutely batshit crazy.
Okay, nuts.
That's absolutely batshit crazy.
What is?
What she said. He set this up so he can have time. That is absolutely, that is batshit insane.
All of it's insane.
Yeah. About, in the event that shit don't go his way in court, he could, what you saying?
Well, that's what she's saying. He set this up so that he could get an extension. That's her argument.
Oh, okay.
She's batshit insane.
Okay. Keep going.
Keep going.
Or any professional doesn't
Still
mean
batshit
they deserve
insane.
to lose their license. There's different levels of discipline. And it doesn't mean because a lawyer was disciplined, he or she is not a good lawyer. Things happen. What you look for, what people should be looking for, is a pattern of repeat behaviors.
Yes.
That's what you should look for.
That's what we should look for, AAS. A pattern of repeated behavior, okay? Mind you, this was 4 years ago, guys. Over 4 years ago when this video came out.
I know, because I was going to this is what his lawyer says happened with this complaint that was filed, right? That it was like a minor dispute, and he didn't pay, even if he didn't pay within 30 days, they would discipline him. It sounded very self-serving. So, I want to look up.
Clear that screen, because I want to be able to read this. Here's what the motherfucker said. I had a billing dispute with a former client who requested for all of the retainer after I had performed several hours of work. In other words, she wanted the money back after he's worked. He said, though I had earned the fee, I later refunded the entire amount to the client. Okay. How the fuck is that self-serving?
Exactly.
Anti-Afro Svengalis.
She just spins narratives.
This lady a refund. He basically.
She completely spun that narrative on him, even though he refunded the person. But that's supposed to be self-serving. Like, this is the warped mind that she has about black men.
It worked for her.
Successful black men.
For free, just to get her out his goddamn face. Right. That's what he's saying. What he's saying here is this motherfucker is batshit crazy. You notice a pattern here? You notice that pattern? This
We definitely noticed that pattern.
Crazy. And even though I worked for her and I earned that money, I gave it back to her so she get the fuck out my face.
Shit. Proceed.
Well, hold on. Let me finish.
She's still crazy.
It says, however, because there's a second rebuttal that I got that I have coming up for her after this. However, Illinois ethics rules can reprimand an attorney for not promptly, even within 30 days, returning the funds, and therefore I was sanctioned. This is the lowest form of discipline and did not require any monitoring or actions by the commission. And they're absolutely right about that.
So this attorney, so the attorney allegedly had all this, and this was really the outcome, right? So you got to dig deeper with AAS, because AAS will make up shit and lie, okay, and pretend that something is real. And it's funny that she has been doing this for years, and it's always a black man. Don't make no fucking sense. It's always a successful black man.
Right about that. Right. A sanction in the legal world is the equivalent
Of a parking ticket.
of a parking ticket.
Right.
You understand?
Facts.
In other words, the shit is so petty. They just did something because in law, one thing is very important in law. They call it the appearance of impropriety. You can't even look like you're doing anything wrong. So they sanction you just because it looks like you did something wrong. Doesn't mean you did anything, just that you look like you did something wrong.
Facts.
Okay? And that's going to play out as we go forward in this video. Proceed.
Myself, what the heck was happening? And guess what I found? I found even more disciplinary issues with this lawyer. This is the reason why I'm saying Boyce is trying to set up a situation where he can get another extension. Because if you go to the link that I provide on the bottom and you type in this lawyer's name, it pulls up this screen that you see here. And then you would hit rules and decisions. And then from there, it would bring up the other issues. He has 3 complaints filed against him.
Now stop.
And guess what they're for?
Stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Break it down.
I got to stand up on this. Now,
All right.
she got this screen here. It says disciplinary reports and decision searches.
Right.
When did she do this? What's today's date? Today's the 13th, right?
Yeah.
She did this before 6. This bitch is up at 6 a.m. in the morning, Saturday morning,
Okay.
doing this so-called research. She just got this yesterday.
Okay.
That's what time she did this.
All right.
This is his attorney number here. This 622-7234. That's his attorney number. That's his license number.
All right.
Okay. So the first entry there is what? November 14, 2016. Somebody filed a complaint on it. What does that disposition say?
Not applicable.
You know what not applicable means, Doc? They didn't even investigate it.
Okay.
It's so petty, they didn't even investigate it.
All right.
They didn't even bother to entertain it. Okay? Now the second one, this is the one where he said he was reprimanded. Right? It's case number 10 PR 0.
I was going to say that, Ray. I was going to say that, Ray. It was 3 a.m.
It's 2019, 7 years ago.
Where he actually gave him money.
This bitch got Boyce Watkins on her mind at 3 a.m., y'all. God damn.
Back with female, but he just gave it back too late.
Yes, but he was sanctioned.
He was sanctioned.
That's the one she's talking about.
Right.
This is the pattern, goddammit. Now, where's the last one?
Not applicable.
It's the same complaint as the other.
2010.
2010, same complaint number, but not applicable. They threw that shit out the window.
Right.
They didn't even bother to investigate. So in his entire period of practice, during his entire period of practice, which goes back to at least 2010, the man got one goddamn complaint, sanctioned one time in 9 years.
It's a pattern, Tony.
That bitch is bonkers. That bitch is a nutcase.
You don't know what you're talking
That
about.
bitch is bonkers. It's in her own shit.
But M.I. Moore says, ha ha, shake my head.
M.I. Moore is a fucking moron.
You don't know what you're talking
M.I.
about.
Moore. M.I. fucking moron. You are a complete fucking moron. This information that this woman is putting on the case actually disproves and debunks damn near 95% of her allegations.
This shit crazy, man. I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, record, pattern. Where you see that at? Oh, shit, man. Yeah, man, she don't fell off the deep end, man. She's stretching. I don't understand it, man. I don't know what to keep going.
It literally says 3 matches found. And 2 of the 3 matches were just horse shit outright.
Right.
And the other one, he got the equivalent of a parking ticket for. Go ahead, man.
Let's go.
For messing with people's money, for not paying, for not doing the work on behalf of the client.
That ain't what they said. That ain't what they said.
Man, Jesus Christ,
She just made that up.
You know what, man? I'm really tripping on just how fraudulent this goddamn video is, bro. She is just telling outright lies and just, goddamn, man. Shit. Maybe I need to go through and look at some of them Umar Johnson videos. And Even though I know that, Umar is a fucking fraud and shit, but Still, man, I wonder how many videos she put out with that nigga with just outright goddamn lies. 'Cause I never bothered to really investigate a lot of the shit that she was saying about Umar. You know?
Now, I'm going to stop this video right there, okay? Because I wanted you guys to hear that particular thing. Now, the person who was talking just now, on yesterday's video, when we were going over this first half of this video, that person made it clear that they actually were in favor of AAS and her her talks on Umar Johnson. Okay, they actually agreed with her, and they were all good, right? Until they broke down this conversation of her and Boyce Watkins, and they realized how many lies she had snuck into this video, how many things she had lied to her audience about, how she hadn't, how she had stretched the truth, right? And took what was in these alleged complaints, right? And made them like it was such a big deal that his attorney was in trouble. His attorney wasn't even worth listening to. He's not, he's a crook somehow, some kind of criminal, like she has always done with people, right? It made this man go back and say, you know what? I now need to retract and go back and listen to the stuff that she was saying about Umar. Because I wonder if what she was saying about Umar was lies too. Did she add in lies? Did she add this? Because somebody like him who was already against what Umar was doing, right? And this kind of happens often. People just have this, they have similar thinking to somebody, and then they kind of dogpile together. And next thing you know, it's a whole force of people coming after this man, when in actuality, all of y'all were hyped up over one or two people just talking shit about this man, right? You already believed that he wasn't doing right, but just based off of what they were presenting, because they presented it in such a neatly packaged package for you. They had very neat looking people who weren't cursing and weren't talking trash and weren't loud, and they spoke a certain way, and they carried their chat room a certain way, and they spoke a certain way, then you automatically believed that they were professional because they literally presented it to you in a professional manner, okay? Like the Jehovah's Witnesses do, like all these other cults do, right? They present information to you a certain way so that when you are receiving this information, you're believing that it's from a person that is upstanding, a person that knows what they're talking about. And so you're going to be more inclined to believe what they're saying just based off of that. Think about it like this, right? When you go for an interview, right? You go for an interview for, a good job. You don't want to come in there with tatted up jeans and, your tattoos showing and you got a tube top on or a tank top on, because your appearance and how you appear is like 50% of the interview. You see what I'm saying? So you could come in there with all the accolades. You can come in there with all the degrees. You can come in there with all the experience and everything else, but your appearance will speak for volumes about whether or not they'll even hire you. You see what I'm saying? So if somebody comes to you with a certain appearance, you're less likely to take information from them, okay, as opposed to somebody who comes clean cut, and talks with a certain diction, and different things like this. If all of that is happening, you're more likely to hear what they're saying. And that is exactly what happened with the AFW camp and with Anti-Afro, with Lennon Honor, with Didi and Page, and with others. People just tended to listen to them because of the way that they presented the information, okay? AAS got very messy and sloppy with how she was presenting information after that Archibald lawsuit, and that's how, things just kind of went the way that they do. But people like this had already seen through her just based off of her, conversations on other people like Boyce Watkins, for instance, okay? So I just wanted to point that out. And, along with all the other points that we have made in this little series on AAS versus Boyce Watkins, okay? I just find it really crazy that she has spent all these years doing the same damn things. It don't make no sense to still be doing this stuff years later, to still have this same rhetoric years later, right? And still be doing the same things. that you were doing then. It's just, now, like I said, she doesn't have as big of a following because of her sloppiness, because eventually, the truth about a person is just gonna ooze itself out, no matter how much you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. You know what I'm saying? You can't change, what that is. She is who she is, right? So eventually all of her and who she was and the veil was just going to drop. And that's kind of what's happened now. Now the veil is dropped. Now, she's naked before the people and everybody can see exactly who she is for who she is, right? People are now making their own decisions on that. Some people only fuck with her if she pays them. Let's talk about it. Some people out here only fucks with AAS if she pays them. Okay. Yeah. And then there's some people that really don't want anything to do with her anymore. I can only think of one person that's even really fucking with her heavy, and he don't even want to fuck with her really. And whenever Breaking the Culture and her stop talking and stop fucking with each other, that'll be one of the things that I'm sure Breaking the Culture will be revealing. Okay. But either way, the bottom line is, guys, we have seen a pattern of behavior with this woman, and lying, making up stuff on people, trying to force, crazy stuff into people's lives, trying to make people's lives miserable, literally lying to her audience about people, blatant lies, even if there's court documents to prove otherwise, even if there's other documents or other evidence to prove otherwise, she will still lie to her audience. And these people just believe her no matter what, because of the way that she attempts to present herself. But unfortunately, well, at least for years she did, right? But unfortunately now, it ain't that great no more. Everything ain't going the way that it used to, okay? But either way, I just wanted to make sure you guys all seen that because yes, honey, this was absolutely nuts. And yes, she is definitely goofy as fuck, right? What's up, Redbone? I appreciate you being in the building. Trig says, hey to you. You said now she lying on saying Umar is taking public transportation. When it's clean from the video showing Umar on a bus, the dude is at an airport. It's an airport transit. Exactly. As a matter of fact, that is the Philadelphia airport transit. They've got little buses and stuff that ride around the Philadelphia airport. And also they have the little trains and stuff that come up there too. So we don't know what he was on, but either way, who cares, right? Like, there was another one that she just recently came up with is that the AFWs are the reason why Don won his lawsuit, okay, against Umar. Like, it's her, and she's taking credit for this shit, like as if she really did this, and like they really had something to do with this. Don don't have shit to do with them. He don't fuck with them, he know what's up, but yeah, that's another thing that she's trying to say, right? There's so many narratives that AAS has painted and presented, even that propane narrative that she tried. And we all know it came from her. I'm just going to say that. We all know it came from AAS, okay? That's just the bottom line. She loves to send stuff out to other people. She will pay them, allegedly, and send stuff out to other people so that they can throw it out there first, and then she'll go ahead and start talking about it and laughing about it and pointing fingers at it after she done sent it to one of her alleged minions, right, to put out there, right? And she does this and has a pattern of doing this. So, if people don't want to be associated with that, if people don't want people to think that, you probably want to stop taking stuff from her and presenting it, okay? Because everything she presents is lies, okay? There's some lies in there somewhere. Somehow she's trying to disparage that person's name and she wants to lie on them. She's going to do that as much as she can. She just recently told y'all I was running from the Wilmington police, okay? First of all, I don't live in Wilmington, okay? So if any cops allegedly would be looking for T-Pre, it would be the Newcastle County Police. It would not be the Wilmington Police. They have their own jurisdiction. The Newark Police have their own jurisdiction, okay? Newcastle City Police have their own jurisdiction, okay? I live in the county. I live in the countryside, okay? You'd have to call the Newcastle County Police for me to be in any kind of trouble with anything, okay? So while she's telling y'all lies and telling y'all that T. Pre is running from the Wilmington police, there are nothing that the Wilmington police would be looking for me for, okay? Because I don't live in Wilmington, and that's exactly what they would have told anybody trying to call the Wilmington police to file a report on me. They would say, does she live in Wilmington? And if they say, we don't know, they would tell you, you have to find out where this person lives, and then we can get you the proper jurisdiction, okay? Yes, ma'am. You're wrong. She lied like she always does, okay? Just saying. You said the PayPal puppets, okay? You said shout out to Spingali. Spingali? You said all that could be wrapped up to be a Fed charge. YouTube has their own ways to police people on their site, and that's true. YouTube has a way of taking stuff down. They have a way of knowing what's what and what's right and doing what they do. They're only going to get involved if the law gets involved, right? So if the law gives you a police report and you take that to the courts, right? And you file with the courts a case, and then you get stuff subpoenaed from YouTube or from Google, you can do that, right? And Google will send it, but they're not getting involved in any other way, okay? They're not calling the cops on you. They're not doing any of that bullshit that these people be acting like they be doing. But either way, guys, I really appreciate all of you for hanging out with the Pre this morning. Make sure that y'all do hit the like button. I do appreciate everybody that has done that. And guys, we are out of here. Now, I said I was going to do my true crime tonight, true crime at bedtime. We're actually going to do that tomorrow. I don't have time tonight to do it. So I will be able to do this tomorrow night. We'll do it about 9 o'clock, 9:30 or so, because it's a pretty long story. So I want to get through it. And of course, I don't want to be online all night long. And then I also want to make sure that I get my head right before I go to sleep, okay? Because this story we about to talk about is crazy, y'all, okay? So make sure that y'all are tuned in tomorrow night for True Crime at Bedtime. And I will talk to you guys later. And peace, guys. Thank y'all for watching.